Hello, this is your automation test channel, and today we will continue with the presentation about the test automation patterns. In the last video, we saw how we implement the page object and the disadvantages of the implementation of the page object. And we saw that we need to apply the solid principle in the page object to prevent larger classes. Well, today we will see what are these principles and how to, and if the page object comply or not with this principle. Well, the solid principle of object-oriented programming are 5: single responsibility, open close, least cost substitution, interface segregation, and dependency inversion. They are called solid because the initial letter of this principle make up the solid word. And this principle were created by Robert C. Martin, and the intention of this principle is to make a software design readable, easier to maintain, and easier to extend. And in this series of videos, we will put focus in the two principles that the most effect have in the page object: single responsibility and open close. Well, let's see now if this principle, if the page object comply with this principle. Let's start with the single responsibility principle. This principle states that a class should have only one responsibility. And for that reason, it will have only one reason to change. And the advantages of applying this principle is that it will reduce the risk of affecting another functionality when we need to make a change in our test project. Well, let's see if the page object comply with this principle. Imagine that we need to implement the page object class for this web table. This web table have different functionality like add item, remove item, filtering, etc. Well, the typical structure of the page object will be like this one. We will have a class grid page with the locators and with the method to simulate the user action in our page. Well, how many responsibility we have in this class? Well, the page object commonly have two responsibility. They have the responsibility of find the web elements in a web page and the responsibility of simulate the user task to complete the functionality that we are testing in our application. Well, as we see, this single class grid page have two responsibility. If we need, for example, to change the locator add button, we need to edit this class and change this attribute. And if, for example, we need to update the functionality of filtering, we need to again edit the same class and edit this functionality. For that reason, we have two reasons to change and two responsibility. So the page object will not comply with the single responsibility principle. Well, let's see now the open-close principle. This principle states that the class should be open for extension but closed for modification. And that means that it should be possible to extend the behavior of a class by adding a new one without changing the existing class that is already working. In practice, adding a new class, adding a new functionality will mean adding a new code without changing the existing code. And the advantage of applying this principle is that we reduce the risk of affecting the existing code when we need to add a new functionality to our test project or a new code. Well, let's see now if the page object comply with this principle. Well, imagine that we need to add a new functionality, for example, the functionality of sort by column in this page object. Well, the typical approach will be to edit the class grid page and add a new method sort by column. But to comply with the open-close principle, we need to add a new class with a new method sort by column to comply with the open-close principle. So we can say that the page object doesn't comply with the singlet responsibility and with the open-close principles. And if we refactor the page object based on the solid principle to prevent larger classes, as we saw in the previous videos, we will get another pattern called screenplay. And this is the topic that we will discuss in the next video, how to refactor the page object based on the solid principle to prevent larger classes and get another pattern, the screenplay. Well, see you in the next video. Bye.